Okay, the first thing I'm going to do with our little bunny project, and it depends on what color your body is, but I'm using the white as my sample because that's one that I have right now. And I'm going to use a sponge. You can do whatever you want, but of course, according to whatever color your body is. I'm going to do white for my ears. I'm going to do both sides. But I'm going to try, I think I'm going to try to leave the edges alone. So that's why I'm using a sponge. Because sometimes it's easier to not get anything on the edge. I don't know if I want the edge done or not. It's going to depend on what it looks like when I'm done. But I'm going to do both sides of the ears in white, and then I'm just going to hand paint the inner portion with some pink. I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun and get it ready. So I'm going to let this dry, probably put another coat, do the same thing on the back so that I've got, you know, a nice double-sided set of ears. This I'm going to use a little bit of pink. This is Cherry Blossom. This is the old Target color, just for a cute little pink. It's the same pink I'm going to use on the inside of the ears. I think what I'll do is just going to take something pointy, like this little cotton thing that I have. I'm going to stick that in there. And I don't have any more paper plates here. I need something to put some paint on. It's all clogged up. Don't need a lot. And I think that's going to be the easiest way. You could use a sponge too for this. Probably going to take a couple coats. And then the key is trying to find some way to prop it up a little bit. I'm just going to lay mine propped up against this sponge a little bit. I'm going to prop it up like this and then put, I don't know, stapler over it to hold it there. So this is dry enough that I think I can turn it over and do the other side. So I'm going to do this side, let that dry a little bit, and come back and do the pink on the ears. All right, so now that my ears are dry enough, I'm going to lightly sand them. I'm going to, especially on the edges, just give enough distress for my liking. But I like them to be smooth, so I'm just lightly sanding with the sanding block. then I'm going to take my paintbrush and my same pink paint that I used for the nose. Brush off that dust. And I'm just going to wing it in terms of the inside here. There. Something like that. I'm not going to do the same thing on the back. I'm not going to make it so that it looks the same on the front and back. There's only going to be one nose, so one side will be the front, but you can make these as wide or as thin as you want for the insides here. Then if you wanted to, you could even come back later and add like little strokes of white for highlighting and stuff. Okay. Now I have to plug my glue gun in. Okay, so I don't have my feet yet, but my feet will likely be white as well. And some of these have a loop on the bottom or on one side. Some of them have this little snap. This one happens to have this snap kind of thing. I'm going to put that down on the bottom. I'm going to make that the bottom. And then you can decide which side you want to be the front. So the hair kind of goes one direction. You can blow it dry so that it foofs up a little bit, but I'm going to make, I think the front of mine be the side where the hair is kind of coming downward. So I have my little, I can take these off now. I have my little nose. The nose, I'm just, going to be gluing and wedging in there somewhere. And then same thing with the ears. So I'm just waiting for my hot glue to warm up, and then I will attach them. All right, I've kind of figured out which side I want to be the front, and I made kind of like a part on my little poof. Parted the hair as best I could. My hot glue is ready to go. I'm going to put a big line of glue on. Of course, my glue isn't coming out like I would want it to, as usual. I want to get plenty on there before it hardens up, and then I want to just plop that in there and press it down real good. And then once you have that on there, you can fool with the hair a little bit, fluff it up and stuff. Now, the feet are what are going to make it stand up the best, rather than flop over. but you're going to want to get the feet in there in a way that's going to hold it up as best possible. So we're going to do that next. So I'm going to kind of make room for the nose as well. There's our little nose. So once we get the feet on, you're still going to have to probably, you know, just figure out the best positioning for it so that it can rest upright, but the ears just have to tilt back a little bit is all. They're going to be floppy no matter what, but that will let you kind of rest them. Okay, now my bunny has been waiting for his little feet. Will this fit? I'm going to use some of my excess pink, so I will have to remember to include this in your kits. But I think I'm going to use my little Mod Podge and my Cricut Mini Iron and Mod Podge this pink gingham onto the feet rather than paint them, just for that little pop of color on the feet, since these bunny feet don't have any little pads to just, you know, give it some contrast with color. So let's forget that paint, but that's what you could do. Let's cut these little guys out. Actually, while I'm cutting those, I'll cut those out. Well, let me get the Mod Podge on these first. I'm going to paint a little bit of Mod Podge on, let that dry, and then use my little iron method. But obviously, you could just paint this on and then cut your pieces out first, paint this on, and then immediately press it on with your fingers. I'm going to do the iron method, which is to paint this, let it dry to the touch, let that Mod Podge dry to the touch, and then come back with the parchment paper and iron mine on. So that'll just dry for a couple minutes till it's dry to the touch. And I will cut my little feet out in the meantime. Okay, once these have fully dried, give them plenty of time to dry, like hours of time to dry. You could come back and put a layer of Mod Podge over top of them again to seal them so that if anything dirty, I mean, you get dirty hands, you're going to touch these, they're going to get dirty. That will just seal them a little bit. And then you're going to want to wait until that dries completely as well. You could skip that step if you want to, just know that there is a chance that, you know, any little thing is going to smudge them. But then once you've decided on that, then I'm going to get my glue gun started because my battery was, and I'm going to get mine heated up here, and then that's all I'm going to do. That's all I have left for my little fuzzy bunny. Now some of them have this little snap thingy on the bottom. Some of them have just a loop, but regardless, you're just going to put a little bit of glue on the edge of the foot and put it wherever you feel like it looks best. So I'll probably put a dollop of glue on the foot and then put my bunny on it where I think it would look good. I want just enough of the gingham to show, but not, you know, I don't want it out so far that it doesn't have enough space to adhere. So spread that little fur out and find approximately where the best place is that it's going to have some adhesion. I'm actually going to put mine all the way up to the snap, like butt up against that snap. And then that's it. And then you'll be able to plop it right down on there and have some little feet. I love this little guy.